Luna Violet Wins a True Love by Swedish Dub. Ever since Luna had returned back to Equestria from the moon for 1,000 years, she was felt a little bit lonely and almost outcast in society. She thought the pony would still hate her after 1,000 years, but she did. But in fact, all the ponies that had known about her in the past has forgiven her. But even then, she felt a little bit still, almost outcast. Even a lot of ponies and even fearless and colts loved to spend time with her. But there was just one time in her past when she very much was very loved. She used to have a boyfriend, but that was at least 200 years before she was sent banished to the moon. She loved him so much and she was prepared to settle down with him. But it turns out something was wrong. He was actually a guard. And one day he was sent out for a number of guards to save a filly and a colt, two children who was trapped in a every forest. And he was a Pegasi. The guards returned home with the children, all of them except for one guard. Luna's fiancé had died in an attack with timber wolves. There were at least 30 timber wolves who were attacking the guards and even to try to harm the children. But the guards managed to save the children and attack the timber wolves and destroy at least 5 of them. But one of the guards was her fiancé, had not the same luck. Even his friends tried to save him, but put it in vain. They didn't manage to save her. That made her heartbroken for the next 200 years. And now, 1,000 years after she had returned back, she still feels lonely, even she has a number of great friends there now. She just wants to feel loved by her special sun pony again. And one day, her sister Celestia told Luna that she could take a little break from her duties and visit Twilight and her family for some time to get some relax. And in fact, Luna was not even wanting to do it at first. She wanted to do her duties at first instead. But Celestia confirmed or even tried to convince Luna so that she could spend some time with Twilight, and at least to have some sort of vacation, and that she could take care of her and Luna's duties at the Camelot. And at first, Luna still wanted not to go, but she realized she needed to have some break because she had been working non-stop with her royal duties, including lower and higher moon every night since. So she went to Twilight in Ponyville for about 2 weeks. At first, Luna was very bored when she was in Ponyville with Twilight. And of course, Twilight wanted to try to make anything fun to Luna. But Luna didn't want to do something else. She didn't actually want to be on vacation from her duties. But Celestia made her to take a vacation since she has been so much work with her duties lately. When Twilight was to study with her family, Luna didn't want to bother them, so she decided to take a walk. She walked around town to see what the ponies did. She greeted some of them. Even met Applejack Applebloom at the market. She even met Pinkie Pie at Sugar Corner, who offered her some cupcakes as a gift, which she didn't mind. She took the cupcakes to the park just to sit down and eat them. Then she heard a voice. The voice was very much catching for her to listen very closely. and she heard even music at the same time. Then she listened, heard more and more, and noticed it was somebody was nearby playing and singing. She went up to the bench and started following the sound and saw it was Purple PSI singing to a number of fillies and colts. In fact, there was Violet Wins, Ponyville's music teacher, with his students there to have the class outside since it was a very nice day. And Violet could see that there was Princess Luna there, and he didn't mind that she listened. He just continued and continued with his music, and after he was done, every of his students was cheering for his good teaching, and even Princess Luna was very much touched about his music. It really touched her heart. She had never felt this happy inside her heart in over centuries. After the students just had left for a recess, Luna started to talk with Violet Winds. She knows that he was a friend of Twilight. He said to her that the music he played really touched her heart. It was very much beautiful. Violet said to her that he was appreciated that she really likes his music, because music is part of his life. His parents had taught him all about music and even taught him about how to play other instruments like guitar, drums, trumpet, and even cello, and even had got some lessons in DJ from Violet Scratch. But for the most part, he always loved to teach his students new music. And he asked if Luna was interested in music or ever played any instrument. And Luna said that she only played violin, but that was many, many years ago, and she haven't played since. And Violet said that he could teach her once again, and maybe perhaps playing a guitar, if she wanted to. Violet just looked at her, and Luna, she was thinking about maybe it's time to go back to playing some music again, because she loved to play music when she was just a filly. So she took his offer, and he said that she can come to his school the next day so that he could teach her. And she accepted the offer as well. So he left with his class, and Luna stood there, watched him just walking away with his students, and he treated them very much with respect, and they loved him. And from that moment, Luna had felt in love in Violet Winds. She never believed that she would fall in love with a music teacher, and just a civilian. Most of her time, she either thought she was going to fall in love with another noble, or perhaps some royal from another country. But in fact, she turned out her love to be Violet Winds. And for the next day, Luna was looking forward to this practice with Violet Winds, and the practice took about almost 5 hours. At first, when she tried the violin, it was a little bit, he said that she was a little bit off, but after she tried over and over, it started to get better. And after her fourth try, it was perfect. It turns out that she needed just some practice, and when she played, he asked her if he could play some of her favorite music. And she started to play a song which her mother had been singing to her since just was a filly. and Violet wins. All he did was sitting there and listen carefully to his music, for the song of the violin, filling his heart with such emotions, love, sadness, but at the same time the most happiness. He tried to play the same on a guitar, and even Luna was just stunned to hear that Violet Winston could play the same song just after one time of listen. She was very impressed that he could play a new song in a new type of instrument just listen to once or twice. Violet said that he was very impressed of the music that she did, and he asked if he had ever played for any other band and other ponies before. And Luna just said only her family and some of her close friends. But that was a long time ago. He asked if perhaps he wanted to play some more, but in for an audience. And Luna was very much said, no, 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 no. She was not prepared for it. She had never played for other strange ponies before, except only friends and family. But he said that he will be there. And Luna said that she was a little bit scared and she needed some time to think about it. And of course he did accept that. So they continued playing some more music. But at the end of the day of the practice, Luna had decided that she wanted to try to play music in front of some other ponies. If Violet Wings wanna be there with her. And he said, sure, he could be there. So the next day, they practiced in for new songs because they wanted to try this concert with the next few days. So they had time enough to practice on some new songs and some songs that Luna loved as a filly. And when the day came for the concert, Luna was so nervous she couldn't even stand straight. She was shaking her whole body. But Violet Wind said, calm down. It's not even something goes wrong. It is perfectly normal. And he told her about something else. That when he was just a colt, when he tried to sing for an audience in school, at first he would play just perfectly, and then he cracked and his voice dropped and his voice was just deep, and something got back to normal. Afterwards he thought that ponies would just laugh at him, but it didn't. Even his music teacher then told him that it happens that ponies get cracked in a voice like that. It happens. That even happened to him as well. And Luna felt it is more comfort. But to make it even she felt even more comfort, Violet kissed her right there, just before the curtains was open, and Violet introduced her and himself as to the audience, and they started to play. For Luna, it felt like she was in trance when she started to play the music on the violin. When Violet was on the guitar, it was just a perfect moment. And especially after this concert, Luna couldn't stop thinking about the kiss. And just for that, Luna thanked him with a kiss back, and he said, I love you, Luna. And she was stunned. Because she never thought that he was going to say that to her. And he even asked her out at the same time. And all she could do was just blushing and nod. And actually, Violet took her out the same night and the same evening to a local restaurant. And it was just so perfect because this date was just so perfect. He made her laugh so much. He told a lot about himself, like when he lived in Manhattan, that he used to play music. One time he tripped over a guitar, so the guitar stuck on his head, So he went to the doctor, and the doctor used to laugh that he saw a pony, a colt with a part of a guitar over his head. Even his parents thought it as a joke. It is a funny, so they had to even take a picture of it. And Luna, when she heard about it, she couldn't resist to laugh. And Violet didn't take it as a bad joke, because he laughed it as well. Because at first, when he went through it, he felt so embarrassed. But just thinking and remembering of that day made him laugh. Luna couldn't resist to be feeling happy with Violet, actually. They had so much in common. They loved to laugh to some old memories. They loved to play music. They even loved to sing. And they also have the passion for the love for traveling. Violet Winsett used to travel around a few times before he moved to Ponyville. And even then after this dinner, Violet Winsett even followed with Luna back home to the castle. And he asked if she had a great time. All she did was just kiss them and smiled and said, "Yes, I did." Violet then asked her if she liked maybe to be his girlfriend, and she said yes and smiled at her. So for the next couple of days afterwards, Luna and Violet just took this romantic dinner after this well, and they even took picnics together and even went to a movie. Violet let Luna to pick the movie, and she picked actually a comedy movie. And Luna has so much fun. She hasn't had this much fun in years. For most part of her life before even she met Violet, she had so much boredness. She also felt lonely. It was something she missed in her life, especially when she didn't have her special song pony. But she considered Violet as her special song pony, which she was glad to be. But then there came a day when she had to return back home. But Violet said that he would visit her as often he could, even write to her as much as is possible. And they actually did. A couple of months later, Violet was actually in Canterlot for a visit. And Luna was very happy to see him again, even they had been seeing each other for a couple of months. And even when the Grand Galloping Gala was arriving within the next few weeks, Violet had been asked by Luna to be her date, and then he accepted. And on the gala, Luna was spending so much time with Violet and even talked to some of her friends. And Celestia, she could notice that how much happy Luna were when she even spent some time with Violet. And Luna, she said to her, "Thanks, sis, but you sent me to Ponyville." And Celestia was even happy to say that she were able to send Luna on vacation to Ponyville a few months ago, so that she could meet Violet. If she hadn't, Luna would still be sad there today. And even then, shortly afterwards, Violet had even been asked to celebrate housewarming with Luna and Celestia. And they were actually happy to be there. And just shortly, sometime afterwards, this great holiday and New Year's, Violet had even proposed to Luna. And how did Luna react? She was beyond happiness at all. She just even smiled and kissed Violet over and over. And the wedding was actually held in the first spring day. Luna had asked Twilight to be her bridesmaid and even asked Discord to be Violet's best man, which he accepted because Discord and Violet has been great friends. And Violet also helped to make the dresses and the suit for the couple. was actually Rarity and Galaxy Star. And later they went to this local tropical island, which to celebrate the honeymoon for the next 3 weeks, and it was just perfect. And barely 3 years after, they had their own children together, and they had 3 daughters, and just 2 years later, they had a son. And they have been so much happier together because to have 4 children, it was more than they ever could ask for. And especially Violet, he was so happy to be married with his true love, and he especially with his soulmate. For both of them, it was like a dream that come true. And that's how Violet wins and Luna found their true love, got a family together. The end.